What's up, world? It's your boss, International Zoe. I'm here in Panama City, Panama, with my sister here, Shana, Vgirl TV. I discovered her channel from trying to do some research on YouTube about Panama. This is my second visit here, and I've added interviewing other content creators to my channel, and you guys seem to like it. So this is the first time I'm interviewing a female content creator, which is cool, and she speaks English.
I do. I definitely speak English.
Which is helpful. You know, I think I shied away from a lot of opportunity because my Espanol is mucho malo. So tell us where you're from and how you get here to Panama.
Okay, so I am from Brooklyn, New York, but my background obviously is Panamanian. My whole entire family is Panamanian. I'm Panamanian. We're all Panamanian, but we migrated to, well, my parents migrated to America.
Right.
So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And why did I move to Panama? Actually, it was a crazy story. When I got pregnant with my son, my mom used to always say, "Oh, I don't want my grandson to be raised here. I don't want my grandson to be raised here." And I'm like, "Lady, I'm not moving to nobody's Panama. Like, no." And she would always say it. That's why it matters. The power of the tongue.
Yes.
We have to be very careful and be mindful about the things that we speak and what we put into the universe, because, you know, the universe has a very a strange way of manifesting itself, right? Mm-hmm. And so then once I had my son, my mom and my dad already had moved back to Panama, so it was only my sister and I in New York.
Okay.
And obviously my son, and I was raising my son. I was a single mom, and my mom would always come back to, like, you know, visit her grandchild, and she's like, "Oh, no, I just wish I want my son to be to go to school in Panama, where she could just be raised in Panama." And I still would be like, "No, it's not happening." And so my son's dad, he is the follower of the Nation of Islam.
Okay.
Right? And so he used to always have what I thought at the time was conspiracy theories, right? About the black man and the black man in America. He always had something that he was telling me about what Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, what's going to happen in the year 2020. It's crazy because we're in 2020 right now, right?
Yes.
And he would always tell me, like, America isn't a place for a black man. And I'm just like, okay, well, why are you here, you know? But then after I had my son, the whole Trayvon Martin thing happened, like 2 years later. And I was just like, I swore George Zimmerman was going to get off, right? And when he did get off,
right,
it kind of was like an eye-opener for me. And I was just like, no, maybe everybody was right. I'm not raising my son here. And so I had the conversation with his dad, and, you know, my parents were ecstatic. They were like, "Yes, you know, we're going to have our grandson." And he was actually the only boy in the family because it's my sister and I. Uh-huh. And my dad always wanted a boy. So here I come, and I produced a boy for him.
Right.
And so my dad was happy. Everybody was happy. And then I made a decision. And then on top of that, I had this job. I was working at this hospital, which was, to me, was internal racism as that in itself.
Right.
I graduated from college. I did all the things that I was supposed to do to so-called have a better life.
Make it.
And I was just nothing but a secretary. And you wait once a year for your raise, and I'm like, I can't live like this. Like, this is not the life that I was meant to live at all. So I just made the decision. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just try going to Panama. My mom already had opened up her beauty supply store, which is the first one that here in Panama. She opened up that one, and then we expanded on the business, and it was an opportunity for me to expand on the business and to bring something to Panama, something that I love, which is beauty and fashion. And also to bring it to the world and to introduce things from the States here and vice versa and my culture. And it just worked out for me.
So you would say, I guess, life and the protection of your son kind of influenced you to move back to Panama?
Well, that was the main reason.
Okay.
One of the main reasons was because I wanted to protect my son.
Right.
I wanted my son to grow up in a place where, and I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist here or racism, because racism exists everywhere. It's just here, it's just less, you know. My son lives a really, really good life on very little. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. I was paying almost $700 a month in private school, well, nursery school, for my son.
Yes.
And I only pay a fraction of what I was paying there, and he is in a very, very good school.
Right.
He speaks 2 languages, which is Spanish and English, obviously. He's very, like, socially inclined. Like, he has a chance to interact with other people, other groups of people, because if we stayed in Brooklyn, we lived in Canarsie. And what Canarsie was then isn't what it is now.
Right.
So he would have just been subjected to just one group of people. And here he's exposed to different cultures, because believe it or not, Panama has its culture, but within Panama there are different subcultures. So the school that he's in, he has Asian friends, he has white friends, Indian friends, mixed friends, Russian friends.
Right.
He's exposed to something completely different, which I felt like if we would have stayed in the States, he wouldn't have been exposed to those things.
Is that because a lot of people move here to retire? Because this is like in the top 5 places to retire.
No.
No?
Well,
Like that mixture of people.
Well, no, because remember, retired people don't have school-age kids.
Right.
Right. So
some people retire. Well, yeah, you're right. Some people.
Right. So I think here is like Panama's a melting pot, like of different cultures. People move here for a better life. Okay.
Right.
It's the easiest place to move to, technically.
Right. And it's a tax haven too, as they say.
They use the American dollar,
Yes.
which is something. People come here for jobs. You know, with the Panama Canal, there's so much job opportunity, and this country's still developing, so there's so much opportunities for people to be able to move here, and that's probably why.
And they're supposed to expand the canal too.
Absolutely.
Right.
So but it's always been, a lot of people don't know, but Panama has always been a place for immigration. I think that now more people know about Panama, and it's not really, the reason why people know more about Panama, and it's mostly negative because of the way the media portrayed Panama.
Right.
But that's why I feel like people are starting to become more aware of it, because when I was younger growing up, when they would ask, oh, where are you from? And I would say Panama, they'd be like, where's that?
Yeah. Just most people who don't travel are ignorant of.
Right. But now that people are traveling more, people are being more aware that about the country, it's a beautiful country. There's so much things to do here. There's so much opportunities for people. And I just felt like I needed to take advantage of that.
And it's one of the biggest countries of trade too.
Absolutely, because of the location where it is located on the map. It's in the middle of literally everything. Panama's in Central America, for those of you who don't know where Panama is. But of course, there's so much opportunity here.
Okay. So, what year did you move back?
My son is 10. He started kindergarten here.
Okay.
So I want to say my math is like really bad. 2012, 13, 15, 2015?
2015.
Yeah.
So you've been here about 5 years. Have you been visiting as a child? Were you coming back here visiting?
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing is, my family is not from Panama City, which is where I live now.
Okay.
When I visited Panama, when I would come visit Panama, it wasn't Panama City, it was Colón. And Colón and Panama City, two different.
And Colón is where the melanated people mostly are.
Yes, melanated people, Caribbeanish people.
What's the difference
the
between
you get?
Colón and Panama City,
or
other parts of Panama?
When you go to Colón, obviously you'll see more black people there.
Right.
That's basically what it is. It's basically like, I'm gonna use New York as a reference because that's where I grew up. Right. So it's like you going to like Flatbush to Midtown Manhattan.
Right.
So that's what's basically like what you're gonna
or
see.
Harlem, downtown Manhattan.
Right.
Back in the day.
So here in the city, you see black people, but not as much.
Right.
You know, you'll see more people that are mixed, or what Latin American people would picture what Latin American people are supposed to look
Right.
like, or what people from Latin America are supposed to look like.
Right.
That's what you would see here. Because it's so crazy, because when my friends will come visit me, they're like, "Where the black people?"
Right.
And I'm like, God, there's black people here, places like Colón, places like Bocas del Toro.
Right.
There are black people that live in the city as
Right.
well.
Right.
But I think like tourists, when it comes to tourism, they don't really advise people to go to certain parts
Right.
of Panama. So it's hard for people to like see.
I think it's too because a New Yorker's perspective of Panamanians is different, because a lot of Panamanians in New York are black or Caribbean Panamanians.
Right.
And in our mind, my first time here, I was thinking the same thing, because everyone that I know that's Panamanian in New York
In Brooklyn.
is dark skin, brown skin.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, when I got here and I went to the 100-year Independence Parade, and I was like, where the brothers at? Where the sisters at? You know?
Yeah. Well, majority of the ones that live in New York, they're from Colón. And I think the reason why is because, and I don't want anybody to misquote me, because I know how YouTube can get. People are ready to drag you to the limbs. But I'm speaking from my personal experience, right? I only speak from my personal experience, from my family, you know, my friends, and what, you know, I've gone through.
Right.
So how my parents got to got to America is usually because they'll have one Panamanian from Colón, and then they'll go help their other family and bring them back, and that's basically how it is. And I think that a lot of black Panamanians that come from West Indian descent, they had an advantage because they spoke English.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because even if it's patois or something,
They still spoke English,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
So I think that's what the advantage was, and why you see more of them in places like that, because they had that advantage because they spoke English. And then, you know, the Panamanian community in Brooklyn is really, really small, especially in Brooklyn. It's very, very small, and everybody knows each other. And usually, like, when one Panamanian comes over, then there's another Panamanian that will help them get a job, and then they'll get on their feet, and then they'll go bring their family, because that's what happened in the case of with my mom and her friends.
That's like a lot of cultures, like from the islands, and like you'll see certain groups of islanders not only living in a certain community, but they all help each other get, like, you see a big Caribbean community working in hospitals and stuff like that. So if there's a job that they seek out, they help everybody, and they'll all be in that same industry.
Exactly.
Okay, so you come back, you bring your son. For you, was there an adjustment from being like a New Yorker and then moving here? Even though you're Panamanian, but
of course, there
tell
was
me about
an
that adjustment.
Like, living in New York, everything is very, very fast paced. People are always like, you know, hustle and bustle. We gotta do this, we gotta do that. It's a lot more. I don't want to say slower because that might be offensive, but it's a little bit more relaxed.
Right.
So people kind of do things on their time. So, like, if you tell someone, okay, well, you make an appointment with someone, and you tell them, okay, well, what time is the appointment? They say 12 o'clock. They may not even show up. They may come maybe at 1, maybe at 2, maybe at 4, and maybe they might not show up at all.
Right.
And that was one of the main adjustments that I had to have, because I was a very impatient person, and I'm just like, why can't they just, and then you realize that's just the culture. Like, I read someplace that Panama is the happiest place, one of the 5 happiest places in the world, and because people are just like,
chill, tranquilo.
Yeah, they'll be like, whatever. So, yeah.
But do you feel that you had an advantage? Because in New York, it seems like New York is the biggest city of competition. Like, you have to stay motivated, you have to get up and compete to survive there. So maybe when you move somewhere where it's a little more relaxed, you feel like you had an advantage?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, I felt like I had an advantage because, again, like I said, it's a little bit more slower, and to a certain extent, like the things that we were doing in the States, they weren't doing here, right? So, you know, I saw an opportunity, and I felt like, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to expand in what I want to do, and also, you know, help the economy as well here in Panama, because that is very important into driving, you know, and building a country's economy. So being able to help the economy and also do something I love to do and to help the people, why not?
And so your family has a beauty supply business.
Yeah, we have several beauty supplies.
Several. So how many stores do you have now?
So there's one in Colón, there is one in Los Andes Mall, one in Metro Mall, one in San Miguelito. I said 4, right? I feel like I'm missing one. Am I missing one?
Yeah, because I thought you said 5.
No, okay,
It's
4.
Okay.
It's 4. We had one in Rio Bajo. That's why I said 5.
Okay.
But because of the pandemic, that one ended up closing down.
And you saw a niche in the market because you felt like the Afro Panamanians didn't have the supplies and the beauty products that they needed.
That is correct. Before, it was very ugly for you to wear your natural hair. Okay? Here, with the natural hair movement, there was one point where every black girl, they even had people saying they couldn't go to work they had to go with their hair straight to work, right? What the problem is that people don't understand that a person that has naturally straight hair and a person that has Afro kinky hair cannot use the same products as a person with straight hair because of the texture of our hair, the way the hair coils, blah, blah, blah. That did not exist here. When the Afro movement started happening in the United States of America, then people here started to embrace their natural hair and their curls because there was one point where that did not exist.
Right.
People had this thing where they tell you, ay, ese cabello está feo, pelo malo. That's what they used to say.
Hair's bad.
Yeah, that's what they used to say. But now you're starting to see with this new generation that people are embracing their hair and their natural curls, and there weren't products here on the market for that.
Right.
So with the store that we have, we are able to provide that for people. People come in all the time and they ask, you know, oh, well, what should I do to my hair? The difference between me, well, now they're starting to pop up more people that's selling stuff for natural hair, but they don't really know about it. So we get a lot of our customers because we can explain the products to them. We can, you know, analyze their hair and tell them, listen, you need to use this, and this. So that's one of the advantages.
You can educate them.
Educate people and then provide them with the exactly.
Which is good. I seen that same problem visiting Cuba, that they have a lack of the products for black women or black hair, our texture hair in Cuba. And when I was in Brazil, I definitely saw more of the women wearing their Afro puffs and stuff like that in Brazil. So they've embraced it more there in Brazil from what I've seen.
Yeah. But here, it wasn't like that before. People are doing it now. Now you're starting to see people with dreadlocks, which was something that people would look down on you if you had dreadlocks. Now you're starting to see more girls wearing their natural hair or, you know, doing protective styling, wearing braids, crochet braids. Those were things that was not seen. People were not doing it, but now they are.
Do you feel like there's more shops opening to cater to that?
I feel like, which is something that people are going to do anyway, I feel like it's kind of like a monkey see, monkey do.
Right.
So it's like, oh, okay, oh, well, we see that there's more black people embracing where they're doing it, so they don't see making money, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not really because you have a love for it or a passion for it, it's just a way of making money.
Right. Because I've seen in New York, I've seen the Asians come in, Koreans mostly, They even bought out some of the black-owned barber and beauty supply stores, bought them out. And they took over the market. They even took over a big portion of the market at the Brown Brothers show in Atlanta. Because I used to do that show every year, and I saw it. Their booths became bigger and bigger and larger, till it got rumored that they bought the Brown Brothers show. Not sure if it's true or not. And then I started to see they actually had African hair braiders in their stores on 125th Street braiding hair. So just the time of them going shop to shop, or people coming into their stores buying the hair, the synthetic hair for braids, they actually went and got the Africans and have them in booths in their beauty supply store. It got to that point in New York now. Crazy.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
And it's no different than it is in America, than it's
Right.
I think that we as black people, we are consumers. We consume a lot. I forgot where I read where they said that, black people consume, I don't even remember, like something billion dollars worth of merchandise. So when people see us, they see dollars. So it's not really about the love, it's just really about making money. And that's kind of what I stray away from with my customers, and why they continuously come to us, because I tell them the truth. And they all know, you know what, I'm going to go back there because I know she's going to tell me the truth, and she's not going to sell me something just to sell me something. And that's the difference between me and what everybody else is doing. I actually know what I'm talking about, and like I said, I speak to my customers and I tell them the truth, like, girl, no.
Right.
And I talk to them like they're my sister.
Right.
So when I talk to them like that, they're like, oh my God, I really like you. You are just so down to earth. And I'm like...
And you from New York, so you kind of, people look to America and New York for fashion sense and things like that. What's the name of your stores? That's what we wanted to...
So the hair store is called Pretty Image Boutique. And like I said, we have them throughout Panama. And then I also, which is a new venture that I actually started, is a clothing store, which right now is only online, which is called Lux and Labels. And then I also have a makeup line. I know. That's called the Vgirl Collection. But that's in New York though. So people order online and it gets, we ship worldwide, but that's based out of New York.
So you're a true entrepreneur. It's in the blood.
I know, yes.
I understand.
Yes.
I definitely do.
Yes.
So let's go into your YouTube channel, your content creator. And did you start your channel before you moved here to Panama or after you was here?
So I actually was after.
Okay.
I actually started the YouTube channel in 2018, but I never really did anything with it. I had made like a video about I don't even remember what the first video was about, that didn't really get like any views, and I was like, oh, this is stupid. And then once we actually went on lockdown, I had nothing but time, and my best friend was like, he actually lives in New York, he's like, why don't you make your channel about you living your life in Panama and what's going on in Panama? And I was like, I don't know, because I actually wanted to be beauty, but with YouTube, it's so oversaturated with beauty and stuff, right? And he was like, no, you should try it. So I did one video, and then it was like, no, my first video that I did was about why I don't identify as Afro-Latina.
Okay.
So that video actually went viral. I think it has like 12,000 views or whatever at this point. I don't even know. Whatever. Right. And then I started to see more and more people, and mostly the people that were embracing me were my Panamanian people in Brooklyn. They were like supporting me and like reposting, and I'm like, okay. And then I started making more videos about Panama, from my perspective at least. I had made a video about, the misconceptions of being a black Panamanian, and that video actually was going around as well. And then once I started making like more videos about Panama, I started to realize that people actually were really interested. So I kind of was like, okay, well, if this is what the people want, gotta give the people what they want. And plus it was fun. It's fun. It doesn't seem like it's like forced, or I'm like having to write. I just literally just record whatever. I don't have a script. I just okay, I'm gonna do this today.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you're natural at it. I watch quite a few of your videos.
Thank you.
And I enjoy it. I enjoy your energy. I enjoy your honesty. You know, you put yourself out there and you express your opinions. And I think people could align with some of your opinions and the way you see things and your perspectives as you know, a black girl, Panamanian from New York, but Panamanian now back here in Panama. I think, you know, there's a large community of people that definitely will feel your content, and I advise y'all to check out her channel.
Thank you. Thank you.
And when I was watching it, you know, you educated me on some things. And there's really not many people, if any, that I could relate to talking about Panama. It might be a few people talking about moving here, a few people talking about the benefits of living here and the tax benefits and the, you know, how to hide your money, and it's stuff like that here. Moving here, retiring here, and you know, I know you stress that sometime in your channel. Like, so I was saying about that you're coming from a young perspective, a young woman's perspective on being here in Panama, and it's definitely a taking a different direction from the videos about retiring here and cash havens for money and stuff like that.
Right. Well, because the thing is, for me, like, even when I moved here, I still wanted information, and for me there was absolutely no information at all, and I didn't see anybody that looked like me at all, and I was just like, okay, and I didn't really have friends either, so I'm like, oh my god, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I gonna do? Did you unpause it?
No, I didn't pause.
And so for me, like, I just want to be able to help somebody else, really, because there's a lot of people that are frustrated, you know, in the States or wherever they are, and there's a lot of people that's traveling, younger people that's traveling, and they want to know what living abroad is like. And I hope to give, like, a different perspective, because I'm not a hippie. A lot of these people that do move to places like this, they're hippie. I'm not a hippie, right? I'm just a regular girl, a regular woman doing her thing.
And you're from New York.
And I'm from New York, and I enjoy it. Because I've seen people, trust me, I've had people, they've lived here, the same way they came is the same way they left, right? And so I also don't want people to have false hope either, because they see me and think, oh my God, like, she's ruined. Trust me, I've had moments, you know? It takes time to figure it out. It takes time to get your tribe, and so that, you know, you can actually enjoy what the country has to offer, and for you to feel at home. One of the mistakes that I made, which is why I felt like I wanted to go home, was not being open to people and not wanting to meet new people, because, you know, you're from New York, you have this thing where you can't trust anybody, right? And don't get me wrong, I got burnt here as well too, so that kind of like closed me up. But I think when you have an open mind and you don't let negative things affect you, and you think positive, the universe has a very wonderful way of giving you exactly what you want. So I think that because I was so negative, I was attracting negative people.
Oh, right, okay.
Right? My mind was closed off, like, I'm always, so that's what you attract. But now that I'm in a different space in my life, I've been able to attract amazing people into my life, friendship-wise, I'm saying. And, you know, just
clarifying, she's still available. Might want to holler now.
So, you know, I'm just saying, I've been able to attract positive people into my life, and I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot from his experience. And yeah, I'm just living my life here.
Okay. So let's kind of round it off with the basic things. You're here, you're from New York. What places would you advise someone to visit? What should they do if they come to Panama? As a tourist, let's say.
Well, if you never ever came to Panama before, of course I'm going to tell you, go to the Panama Canal, because that's something that you should experience. And if you can do the tour where you go actually through the boat, that would be great. I would advise you to go to the Bio Museum. I would also advise people to go to the West Indian Museum here in Panama, which is in Cinco de Mayo. I know it's very, very underrated. It's a very small museum, but it has a lot of wealth of information for people who want to know about Black culture and here in Panama. Try the restaurants. The food is so good. I don't care what anybody says. Panama has some of the best restaurants.
And seafood.
And
too.
seafood, yes. What else?
What's the name of this restaurant?
Oh, this restaurant that we're in is called Bendición, and it is at the end of the Finca Costera. I don't even really know. It's like Caledonia.
It is kind of right outside of St.
Yeah, it's like Caledonia, but the food is like really, really good. I love coming here.
Yes, the food was good.
Yeah, I love it's delicious. Okay. What else? Oh, I don't know if you have kids. If you have kids, there's a place in the mall where you can take your kids. It's like an indoor amusement park.
The Auburn Mall?
No, it's in Alta Plaza.
Okay.
It's called Crazy Park, which is something that I do with my son. Definitely try the spout, which is the ice cream, the icing. Or, you know, they get it on the street, and make sure you get condensed milk on it and the little sugar and all that good stuff. You definitely want to get a spout. What else? Visit Casco Viejo. They have really good restaurants there as well. I feel like I keep talking about restaurants. But you know, we're in Colón right now, but there are really good clubs as well. Unfortunately, they're closed, but
I didn't know that.
yeah, like Movado was here a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have like, well, I'm into dancehall and reggae, so that's what you're into. There's definitely that. Oh, and visit Bocas del Toro. You have to visit Bocas.
I haven't. I'm thinking possibly, and your mom's gonna take me to Colón.
Oh,
so
go to Colón,
that's
yes.
gonna be dope.
Yes, you gotta go to Colón. You know, my mom is from Colón, and so yeah, these are places you have to. And don't go to the regular. You know, do some other things. Okay, do other things. You gotta go to the beach in Colón also because the beach in Colón is the best. So yeah, you can go ATV riding as well. That's something that I've done here before. I've done zip lining. Zip lining is super fun. I did one that had like 20 lines in the middle of the jungle. So yeah, there's so much things that you can do. It's just a matter of like researching and getting with the right people. You'll have like a blast.
So people might want to reach out to you particularly, and so tell them, you know, your channel again and where they can reach you if they want to contact you.
Okay.
You got an Instagram or email. Let them know. Okay,
so my YouTube channel is called Vgirl TV. Vgirl TV.
That's right.
And so when it comes to like stuff about Panama, I have a specific email that people can email, which is the expatexperience507@gmail.com. And my Instagram is IAM_VMonroe.
Thank you, sister, for giving me some time.
No, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, it's your Force International Soul, watching Vgirl TV, Panama.